Guys, welcome back again. I'm finally making this one-piece video and I'm super excited to share it. So today we're going to have our normal materials. We're also going to throw in some strap adjusters, which I don't always do, but I am this time. That is 1/2" elastic, that is pattern paper, and nylon spandex fabric. Those are what the strap adjusters look like, and you'll see later on in the video I decided to actually not use part of them, but you will see why. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how I made this pattern again. This is a pattern that I traced from an old swimsuit, and basically I'm just going to be making some adjustments to it to make it how I want it to fit. So I want it to be more of a triangle shape, and I want it to be higher on the hips. So I'm just marking the general dimensions of it, and then I'm going to go and make some adjustments. And as usual, I'm kind of working in halves here so it can be perfectly symmetrical. And I want there to be a seam right under the breast to make it as flattering as possible. So that's why I drew it there. I'm eventually going to separate those two pieces. That last line I just drew was to make the hips just a little bit higher. And with this, it's kind of a guess and check, and this is the first time I've ever made this pattern, and I've had to go back and make a few adjustments just to make sure that it fits as well as I'd like it to. So I opened it up and I saw it needed just a little deeper of a cut, so I drew it in and then just cut it out, and that looks more like it. And now on to the back piece. Again, I'm using a previous pattern and I'm just making a few minor tweaks. And my patterns are available on my website. The link is below. I'm working on getting those in PDF version for you guys because handmade is fun, but it's difficult sometimes. So the adjustments I made here, I made it a little less cheeky. I made it higher hipped and low back. So now I'm going to cut that piece out. And then finally, I'm just going to separate those pieces so I can have two breast pieces. So now we're going to do the old cutting thing. So since we're using two different fabrics, one is a solid, one is a print, we're going to cut one of each piece in the solid and then one of each piece in the print. And I'm just folding it in half there just to make sure it's as even as possible, trimming off the uneven edges. And when I cut, I usually leave about 1/4 inch of seam allowance, as that is the size of my seams. Now moving on to cut the back piece, using my foot as a pattern weight. I got a comment today that's like, it pains me to see you trying to hold down that paper, and I commented back, I'm like, you know, the most long overdue thing that I need to buy is in fact pattern paper or pattern weights. So now I'm going to cut my straps. I like to make my straps 1 1/4 inch wide and however long you think they need to be. I planned on doing adjustable straps, so I made them extra long, probably, I think in this video I made them about 20 inches. So I'm going to use the other fabric, cut out my pieces. You'll notice that I flipped the left and right breast just to make sure they can be on opposite sides so that the print is facing outward. With bottoms, since they're symmetrical, you don't have to worry about that, and you can, even on like solid colored fabric, you can use any side of the fabric really, but if you need to use one side, you need to make sure that for pieces that aren't symmetrical, they're flipped when you're cutting each one. Alrighty, so these are all of our pieces along with our straps. So now I'm gonna fill out the front piece, and I just want to make them each a solid piece, so I'm gonna match up the right sides together and sew the breast to the bottom piece of the front. So just pin where you need to, if you need to pin. And the reason I'm doing this is to make it simpler. We just want a front and a back piece. So in order to make that front and back piece, I need to attach the front all together. I'm using my Baby Lock Evolution serger. And that's woolly nylon thread as well. So that's what our pieces look like. Gonna go and just trim the threads. And now we're gonna match up our print pieces with our solid pieces. So the lining with the solid pieces. And you're just gonna sew on the sides to start. We're also gonna do our straps, the normal fold in half and sew. So I'm doing just the sides of the one piece at the moment. And with the seamless, reversible, inside out type stuff, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, different orders. So I still am discovering different ways that I could do the same thing and have the same result every time. That's my dog. She's just so cute. So now they're going to match right sides together and put the suit inside itself. And we're going to sew along the leg holes. Now it's important in this step that you make sure that the right sides are together so that it's seamless. Don't mind me doing that weird mouth thing. I like chew on the inside of my lip as like a boredom thing when I'm only doing one thing at a time, and it's weird. So we're gonna go back in and put some elastic on. Again, I'm using 1/2 inch full flex elastic. You can use woven fabric, but I don't typically like that for swimwear. I think full flex, which is basically like, I guess, plastic, is a lot more professional, a lot stretchier, and it's definitely more durable in terms of going in the ocean and chlorine and stuff. And I'm putting my elastic on the right side. So on the print side, I'm sewing down the elastic, but we're still on the inside out. I'm just sewing exactly where I sewed before for the leg holes. So this is kind of what it's looking like right now. And we are going to take the entire suit, flip it inside out through the crotch hole. Remember to do this. And now we're going to line up the suit again, right sides together. So now it's inside out again, but we did it through the crotch hole, which is such a weird thing to say. So now we're just sewing the breast pieces right now. When you get down to that corner, you're going to try and stretch the fabric as much as you can to make sure you can hit that curve. And now as I sew the sides, I'm going to pull the inside of the suit towards me so I can get the back as well. This I like to call the sandwich method. If you're confused by that step, I definitely recommend going back and watching some of my other videos, specifically the ones that are reversible, so you can see how I pull the suit inside out. Then I'm just going back and putting on some elastic. So now we're going to put some elastic on those straps, and once you've done that, you're going to flip those straps inside out. I do the elastic on the straps just like I do any other elastic, just sew the elastic on top of the seams. So this is where things kind of went a little crazy. So those are the strap adjusters. You have those two little tiny pieces, and then you have the normal straps. So for the normal straps, I'm gonna push them through the crotch area, up and through the shoulders. And I'm just gonna sew on top of there. And for the little hook thingies, I'm going to mark where I want them to be, seam rip a little hole, and I'm going to do that on both sides. And then stick your straps in there. Make sure the metal piece is not anywhere near your needle, otherwise you will snap a needle. So now I'm just going to sew over that. And then the straps, like I mentioned. Okay, so now I just shifted the swimsuit. I'm lining up the crotch right sides together, and I'm gonna sew the crotch together, but leave a little hole when you're sewing in that circle. And again, if any of these techniques you're uncertain of, definitely look up my other videos, specifically the reversible bottoms and some other tops, because I go through this technique a lot. So I don't want to seem too repetitive, but yeah, it's like the exact same routine. So now through the hole that I left in the crotch, I'm going to take the entire swimsuit and bring it to the correct side. And this is where I realized my straps weren't going to work out. So I tried to put those little strap adjusters. I was trying to fit my straps through there, but I realized I had the wrong size for the size of elastic that I used. So after a lot of struggle, I realized I wasn't going to be able to do that. So I just decided to string the straps through those holes and then tighten them. And I actually like that a lot better. So once you finish off that final seam, here is your final product. I love this suit a lot. It has some nice side boob in there. I think when I adjusted the pattern, I made it less high hipped, but yeah, should be good. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.